This is Richard Wesley. Five-star defensive end, committed to Oregon, or at least was committed to Oregon. This is Dan Lanning jumping in a pool to secure a commit.
Oh, didn't see you there. Well, all the schools, they all show me, types of love, but there's one school, show me the most love, and, I guess it's where I'm going. You ready, Coach?
Let's get it. It's time, baby. Let's go.
You guys know me, huge Dan Lanning guy, love Dan Lanning, felt like he was very young Urban Meyer-y. But it does seem like something went wrong with the program when they got absolutely destroyed by Ohio State. It felt like a national, big banner. We are further away than we like to pretend. Now, this is the second really embarrassing loss that Dan Lanning has had since becoming the head coach at Oregon. And the first one was early on. It was against Georgia. And afterwards, he said, you know what? Basically, on his Dan Hurley stuff, get me now because I'm going to get better. This is going to get better once we get better players. 2 years then after that Georgia loss, they got better players. And they got the better of Ryan Day and Ohio State in what ended up being a championship season for Ryan Day. And they beat him by one. They got Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, they looked like the team that was kind of going to be next up. They had national pundits all over him. I guess myself, I don't know if I'm considered a national pundit, but I am a Big Ten guy that has a Big Ten show. And I went on the show and said, I love Dan Lanning. I think Dan Lanning is next up. I think it's fair to assume that of the coaches, him, Sark, Lane Kiffin, that he was going to get a ring first. Then the absolute destruction came. And it does feel like that was a massive black eye for Dan Lanning. And after that, it felt like everything Dan Lanning was doing got harder and harder to defend. Everything Dan Lanning was doing was getting cornier and cornier and cornier. About a week and a half ago, we had a moment that I did not think I would ever see an Urban Meyer discipler, an Urban Meyer kind of clone, I thought, do. He took his shirt off and he jumped in a pool to announce the commitment of a five-star. Now, I know this wasn't Dan's idea, but boy, does it look bad. And then earlier today, I started seeing Jay Book and them talk about, oh yeah, this kid's taking a bunch of visits. And then you see the kid decommitted. This is up there with the Brian Kelly decommitment. It's ugly. It's bad. This kid makes it seem like he essentially baited or convinced Dan Lanning to jump into a pool with no intention of ever going to Oregon. Oregon might be the walking lick, and right now, at least for a while, Dan Lanning's going to have to wear this one, and I think it's worse than the Brian Kelly familia. But Richard Wesley is now a big fish out there, and he's going to get some NIL deals, and he's going to get recruited, and if you're Dan Lanning, I think optically, you shouldn't recruit this kid anymore because this kid looked you in your face, told you he was committing, got you to film a stupid video just to embarrass you a week later. If you thought one of those did irreversible damage, both of those together, that's two big black eyes for someone who's supposed to have a grip on things and supposed to be the next up-and-coming special coach.